All right, we're live. Hey guys, welcome to day number 3. Hope you guys are doing well. Just trying a new setup today. So if you can't hear me at any point, please do let me know. And we're just gonna get started in 30 seconds. Um, just give me a second. We just want to make sure that everything's cool. Um, all right, we're just gonna get started right now. All right. Hope you guys doing well, right? So keeping yourself safe and looking after yourself. So today's topic is very important. And let me see if I could actually see myself and everything. I can hear myself as well. Today's topic is very important. Look, if you're one of those people who's been, trying to sell something online, who's running your coaching and services from last many months and years, this is one of the best things you'll learn today. And there is a reason for this, right? So from last many years, this has been my obsession because I've been running this, doing a lot of presentations. Before that was for corporate world. Then after that, I started my own business and doing this pretty much a few times in a week, and that's been my life from last 4 or 5 years now. And so I think this is, if you talk about it, is one of my best topics, right? So one of the best topic right at the top. If I have to pick one of the 3 topics I love to talk about, this is one of these topics, because I love to study a lot of people globally who made the impact creating these presentations, and also what makes people move, right? What makes people take action. So this has been one of the biggest obsessions of mine. So you're going to see a lot of geeky stuff. I'm absolutely nerd about this. So I'm going to go deep into different stuff. So hope you like it. Today is going to be one of the best days out of these 5, just because today's the day which make, pretty much going to change the way you do business, right? If you understand this, the concept behind it and the reasoning behind it, I promise you it'll change the way you do business, because it has got an impact, it has got a major impact on the way you run it. Because if you run it this way, you'll see the difference in next coming years, how your business is going to completely change and transform, right? Absolutely, because presentations can do it, right? So let's get into it. Let's get started. And here's what we're going to talk about. Let me bring up my presentation. So number one thing is, right, we all know that, and it's sort of pretty obvious now that our words have power, right? So your words, you have the power to change the world, right? So it doesn't matter what you sell, whether you sell, makeup, whether you sell personal security tips, whether you sell coaching programs, whether you sell, security, anything you're selling it, we all have these words have power to change the world. And I think it's a time to start using these words, because you don't want to be one of those people who are right at the end of their age, their life, and they think they could have done that. They, should have taken that action. And all of us have this ability now, because of these cameras, because of this internet, because of this, the way life is right now, that we can actually make that impact and change the world in sitting in our lounge rooms, right? All these people who were before us, they never had this, right? They couldn't do this the way we could do it now. So it's a big thing. It's a big, big deal. So I think it's very important that you must use this privilege to make a better place in the world. And we all must use this, right? So let's have a look very quickly, recap of what we talked about yesterday. Number one thing which I really want to focus on, it's not about your programs, it's not about your coaching, it's not what you're selling, it's all about your client's results, right? So your client results matters first. They are the ones which matters the most. Your method, your system, your way of doing things is kind of comes after that. So what most people do in this world today, they're trying to sell their method, they're trying to sell their systems, they're trying to sell their way of doing things, they're trying to sell their services. If you find out what people want and what method works the best to get them those results, those are the people who are the winners today. So focus on client results, not your systems, not your methods, not your product, not your services, because what happens is when you put a focus on your client's results, that give you one of the best things in the world is you're not attached to your services, meaning that your services might be 20% or 50% of the entire offer. You could actually work with other people to make sure that your client actually get the entire result end to end. That's what matters. We talked about, we don't want to sell multivitamin as long, I mean, we know that they're important. We know that everybody should be taking multivitamins, but we don't want to sell it to begin with. We want to work on the painkillers, right? So, and it's really important to find that pain, find the problem which is causing that pain in your client's world, because when you do that, you'll see there is a freedom, and the business kind of flows after that. And the businesses who manage to find that, they're the businesses who make most of the money in the marketplace, especially in today's world right now. If you're right here in 2020, find the pain in the client's market. Right, so always this is number 3, which made a huge difference in my business. Right, so always sell one destination. Right, so you always sell one destination and provide multiple options to get to that destination. Don't provide choices like, you can take, I can help you with websites, I can help you with this, I can help you with that, I can help you with this, I can take you to Sydney, I can take you to Brisbane, I can take you to Adelaide, I can take you everywhere. Then you're just confusing the client, right? So don't provide the choices. Provide one destination and help them get to that destination. And the last one was, find a starving crowd who's ready to pay you to solve their problem. So make sure that your target market actually first has the money. The second, they're willing to spend it. If your client has the money and they're not willing to spend it, you don't want to serve their clients, right? So today's presentation is all about, if you're one of those people who want to influence people, you want to make an impact in the world, you want to move people to take action, you want them to join your community, you want to join your programs, buy your product and services, whatever that means, meaning that you want people to take certain action, you want them to be here and go there this way, and that's what you want. Today's presentation is entirely based on that, because as I said earlier, this has been my obsession from last many years, and I love talking about this, and I'm going to go deep into it for you guys today, so you guys can understand the concepts and you understand the reasoning, and you also understand the steps and formulas, the methods we put in place, and you'll love it. I promise you'll love it. Stick to this and you'll love it at the end, right? So as I said earlier, this has been my obsession, right? Crazy obsession, but it's been my obsession. What makes people move? I've been doing it from last 10 years. My first presentations were crazy, right? So I still remember those. When I stood up and spoke, and thinking that I'm adding a lot of value to people's life, meaning that I stood up and gave everything to people. I'm talking about, about 8-9 years ago, when I worked for the corporate world. My job was to sell that hardware and software, which costed about $1 million. So I used to think that giving more information to my prospect, giving more information to my clients, will help them make a better decision, means that they're going to buy at the end. But that wasn't the case. So I discovered that that was absolutely useless. They don't need more information to buy. So something which I learned along the way. I was one of those people, when I spoke, people opened up their laptops, they started writing, and they started yawning in the room. Right, I was one of those people, and believe me, by doing it, one of these things that wasn't pleasing. Right, you're standing up and speaking, and you trying to add value to people's life. You're trying to give them everything, and at the end, you find out they're not even listening to what you're saying. You don't want to be one of those people, right? So I was one of those guys, and actually pretty much killed everybody who was sitting in the room. So I've created a lot of offers in my business in last many years, 11 plus now. Just very specifically to sell through webinars, through live events, sold through live presentations, through events, through VSL, sale letter, webinars, like all that sort of stuff. So you are at the right place. You'll learn quite a lot, I promise you. Right. So why it is really important, right? Why it is really important, why I'm talking about this, why we need to make sure that we have a presentation which helps people move and take action. What's the reason, right? So when you work one-on-one, you work as an employee. When you work one-on-one, you work as an employee. Means that doesn't matter if it's your business, whether you work for somebody else. You know, when you work one-on-one, you are an employee of your business, right? So when you work one-on-one, it's just you are the person who's doing the work, right? You're the person who's introducing them to your systems. You're the person who's helping them to take action. You're the person who's enrolling them. You're the person who's doing all that, right? So pretty much you are the person who's doing it. But when you work one-to-one, one-to-many, you kind of step into the business world, because now there is a different stream, different stuff happening everywhere, right? So that's one of the biggest reasons, because if you want to convert yourself from an employed or self-employed to a business world, start work one-to-many, right? One-to-many is the biggest things, right? So, and here's what most people do, and I was one of those people as well. If you are a high-paying consultant today, if you work like the way I used to work for corporates, getting paid between $1,100 to $2,000 a day, getting paid quite a lot, we kind of stop thinking because you're getting paid quite a lot. But here's something I discovered, right? So I want to share with you guys. When you work with somebody or work for somebody, we kind of have three variables. The way we make money, the way but we kind of don't look at it. The variable number one is time, right? So, and the other one is rate per hour you get paid for, and the other one is your clients and employer, right? So there are three variables, the amount of money you make. Most people, and I was doing the same thing, we kind of, if we want to make more money, we look at it, okay, I need to either start working, instead of 8 hours, I start working 10 hours a day. Instead of working, instead of making $50 an hour, I'll go and ask for a raise and have $55 an hour, or $60 an hour, or $80 an hour. So we kind of fight between these two, right? We fight between these two, either increase my time or either increase my rate so that I can make more money. And that's pretty much everyone does. We do the same thing. I did the same thing. And people believe that, right? The only way to make more money is to increase time or increase that. But we kind of forget one big variable, which is a client variable, right? So if you do same thing, but increase the number of clients, increase the number of, people who pay you, this is totally different dynamics, right? Totally different, right? The university system taught us that employer is pretty much fixed, right? The client is fixed. You only have one employer. You only have one person who pays you. That's why we fight for hourly rates. That's why we fight for time we spend at work. So, but if I change that variable, right? If you look at it, the similar stuff, even though, I work 8 hours a day and I reduce my rate from $50 an hour to $30 an hour, and I have 5 clients, my money increase, doubles that pretty much straight away, right? So something, right? Something we need to do it. All right, so let me see, guys. Can you actually hear me? All right, just let me see if everything is working. If not working, just got a message. All right, can you guys see me? All right, guys, can you see me? Can you hear me? Please, can you confirm that? Can you confirm that? Can you please message below if you could actually hear me? Could you please message below if you could hear me? Let me know if you could actually hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Just wanted to confirm, guys. Awesome. Thank you. All right, good. So, awesome. Let's keep going. Awesome. That's good. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I thought there was something happened. All right, let's go back to the slides and let's talk about it. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So this is something biggest thing happened in my life, right? So when I realized it, I don't need to work for one employer, and I can actually work for multiple employers, even getting paid less, but doing the same kind of work. That changed everything, right? So I think that's what we need to work towards. When you work one-on-one, pretty much people focus on time. That's why everybody start talking about time. I need that many hours, all that. And that's how you tell the difference between employee and or employee mindset and the guy or girl with the business mindset. Employee mindset person sort of says, hey, how much time it's going to take me to do this work? But the business person with that mindset, it says, hey, how long it's going to take me to provide that solution to the people, right? So that's the biggest thing. So let me ask you the question, right? So here's the dentist model, right? Dentist pricing model, 200 an hour, and it takes about 1 hour to fix your toothache. Or he says, I'm going to charge $300 and I'll fix your toothache within 15 minutes. Which one would you prefer? Which one would you prefer? The first model is it's going to take 1 hour and I'm going to charge you $200 an hour to fix your tooth. On the other hand, I'm going to say $300 an hour and $300, but I'll fix your toothache within 10-15 minutes. Which one would you pick? Which one would you pick? Right. So if there is a crazy toothache, right? So you're going on. It's it's a really bad toothache. We all go with number 2, right? So it doesn't matter how much he charged, because I have a crazy toothache which I want to fix. So if we really want to take our business to the next level, right? Really want to take the business to this level, we must learn to work or serve one-to-many, right? And a presentation which influences people to take action is the quickest way to take your business to the next level, right? So a presentation which influences people in a certain way to take action is the quickest way to take your business, right? So remember all these people, right? So I still remember that was biggest learning of my day. 2015, I went to see Mr. Tony Robbins for the first time. At the end of that 4-day UPW event, he spent about half a day, right? Not just 1 hour, 30 minutes, selling his next step. Half a day he spent about selling his next step. Date with Destiny, Life Mastery, Business Mastery, all that. He spent about half a day selling that. And I saw, and that was crazy, I saw tons and tons of people running and trying to buy stuff. And I was just doing like many other people who would sit there doing the maths. I was just doing the maths. I was like, how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100, 150, 200, 300, 500, 600, 700 people standing in the lines. Multiply by 10,000 or $15,000. Whoa, that is unbelievable. I want to do the same thing, what he's doing. Right? So we all had that, right? So I had the same thing, right? I want to do exactly the same thing. Get people to buy stuff, because in one moment you can change the business the way it happens, right? So but this is something, like we're talking about the business, but I think if you look at it, the history, look at the world, every movement, everything which happened in the past, everything is happening right now today as well, is pretty much created by a great presentation, right? Everything. Like, remember that times when this guy, Dr. Martin Luther King, stood up and said, I have a dream, right? He sort of gave this famous speech, I have a dream. If you haven't watched it today, I think it's a great time to watch it again if you haven't watched it for a long time. And I want to give you some tips on this as well. If you watch this I have a dream speech, if you watch the entire speech, I think 10 minutes, first 10, 11 minutes are freaking boring. So boring that this is what Dr. Martin Luther King was doing, was reading it. Was so boring. And at the back, somebody was standing, I think Rosa Parks, I can't remember the name, somebody was standing at the back, screaming at the back, saying, hey, Martin, tell them about your dream. Tell them about your dream. Tell them about your dream. And that line he did not have in the speech. If you believe in the universe connected, if you believe that the message is coming through from somebody out there, that is what happened at the time. So you'll see that in the video. If you watch it, it was clearly visible that he put the paper down and he looked up and said, I have a dream. That was best thing ever. Watch it again. You'll see that you'll get goosebumps. All right. 1941, Mahatma Gandhi did the same thing, right? The Quit India movement. There was a big speech, right? A huge, huge speech. It's not available, I think, in audio, video anymore. It's just available in a written speech. A big movement, right? Quit India movement. Big, 1941. Wasn't successful. Quit India movement wasn't successful. But British still left after 7-8 years, right? So amazing, right? So this is somebody said. Let's see if you guys, how's your history lesson? Somebody said this. Let's see who said it. Christ gave me the message. Gandhi gave me the method. Christ gave me the message. Don't Google it, please. Tell me who said that, if you know that. Christ gave me the message. Gandhi gave me the method. And the method was non-violence method, and I can tell you that. So somebody said that in the history. Was a very, very famous person. Very famous person. Who said that? Christ gave me the message, and Gandhi gave me the method. Right? Let's see how's your history lesson. If you haven't figured it out by now, let me give you the answer. It was Dr. Martin Luther King, right? So he said that the method was same, non-violence, right? So there was nothing to, everything was non-violence, right? So yeah. So this is again JFK, right? Famous speech on his inaugural day, right? So when he did it, JFK's speech is very famous as well. Franklin Roosevelt's speech as well. Franklin Roosevelt's speech was pretty famous. If you haven't listened to The Stranger's Secret, it's not a speech, but it's like a 20-25 minutes speech. Pretty cool. If you haven't listened to that yet, or if you listened long time ago, I think it's a time to listen to this. It's pretty famous, very, very, very famous. The Stranger's Secret is pretty cool. I love it. Absolutely love The Stranger's Secret. I was one of those guys who listened to Stranger's Secret for 30 days a couple of years ago, and it was pretty cool, right? So, who remember the House of Commons speech, right, by Churchill, right, Winston Churchill? I don't know if you guys watch these history things, right? Remember the time that Earl gave this speech? His voice wasn't that good, but I remember that. It just gives me goosebumps, right? Today's the time again to listen to these kind of speeches. He said at the time, we shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans, right? Remember that speech? That was a pretty cool speech, right? Pretty cool speech. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's one of the speech, right? We'll fight in France, we'll fight in the seas, we'll fight growing with confidence, we'll fight in the air, right? All that. Very cool. It excites me, right? It's a very cool speeches. Abraham Lincoln's speech, written down, is available when he gave a speech at Gettysburg, all that. So it's pretty common speeches, right? So let me share this, right? So this is something which I put together because I watch these speeches quite a lot. I watched that 2007 Apple launch by Steve Jobs in Apple speech. I watched the speeches by Martin Luther King, analyzed the speech. I've watched these speeches quite a lot, and there is a reason for this. I watch it because one is I love them. That's just the other thing is it sort of gives me the frameworks. I'm a big on frameworks. If you guys know me by now, I create frameworks. I create steps. I create. I used to work as an architect, so my job was for all these corporates which I used to work is, seeing the bigger picture, chunking it down, and creating a framework so that normal people can understand it and give it to the technical guys so that they can build it. Right. So that was my job. And I do the same thing in these businesses as well. My job is to chunk it down, cut it in small chunks, and give it to people so that they can play with it, they can use it, and they can come back with the feedback. So this worked, this didn't work, this happened, right? So that's what I do, and I love doing it. So here's my take on these speeches. If you know and a little bit I read about the hero's journey, it's about that as well, right? Hero's journey fits in perfectly in this sort of space as well, right? So first, all these big speeches, all these people have one big point in common is they talk about a big problem, right? There is a big problem out there that is happening right now. If you don't come and listen to me, this is what's going to happen, right? So they talk about big problem, right? So what is the big problem? And that's same method, same formula applies to your business as well. Big problem in my business, right? I'll give you an example. See, I don't have a big problem like Dr. Martin Luther King had a big problem, right? Their problem level was very different than my problem level, right? But problem is still there. The big problem is still there. Give you my example. See if you guys can put it together in your business as well. My example is a lot of people in my client world spend so much time doing Facebook posts, doing this, doing that, but they still have no clients. They're trying to go out at every lunches, every meeting, every BNI, everything out there. They're trying to meet people with one intention. They want to grow their business, but it's not working. Right? So that's my big problem. Big problem is people have skills, people have knowledge, people have experience, but the business is not growing. They are world's best kept secret, right? So that's what's happening. That's what my problem is in this world. So second thing is the enemy. So you must have, they all had one common enemy. Who's out there who gave them the wrong information? So, who's the common enemy amongst all? Who's out there? So in our world, I talk about the system, right? System made people dumb. System made me in a way that I couldn't sell my products, I couldn't sell my services. So this is what I say. I spent so many years at the university, so many years studying. I've done one bachelor, three postgrad diplomas, one graduate diploma in management, and then one master's in IT, right? So I've spent a lot of years at the university. I came out of the university at the age of 25 with all these degrees and everything. So what they did to me, they made me a really good employee. They prepared me to be the best employee I could ever be, right? So this is what I did. I climbed the ladder in the corporate world, right? I did the best because that's what I was given, right? People who taught me marketing at the school when I was doing my MBA. I enrolled into MBA, but I only did for 1 year. Then I said, this doesn't make sense, right? So I did MBA and I did 1 year. People were teaching me marketing, right? And they have never done marketing, right? People were teaching me how to build businesses, but they have never built it. So I just couldn't understand that. I was like, why I'm studying from people who just talk theories? Why I'm not studying from people who have done this, right? And this is the biggest thing which I never understood. So that's why I had to actually get out there and do something. So that becomes my common enemy. So who's out there in the world who have the same common enemy? They are my friends. They are my clients, right? So you must do that. So all these people have the same thing. They found common enemy, right? There is a common enemy. Somebody's out there who's your enemy, my enemy, all of us together, right? So we need to find that. The other one is you must have a big destination. Where are you taking them? Where are you taking them? What does that look like? You must have a big destination, right? So people who have no destination, they just want to sell stuff, kind of lose it, right? They can't create the influence. When you are standing in the room, you must be able to help people take to a destination, right? That destination could be anything, could be a level of income, could be level of minus debt, right? Somebody has to take them somewhere, and that somewhere, some destination, you need to decide how does that destination look like for you, right? So it's really important. People who don't take anywhere, they just get stuck, right? So I'll give you an example of this that might be relevant in today's world. They analyzed the speeches of all the American presidents' election speeches and their logo and their the taglines during the election. So people who had a very precise tagline, or the presidents who had the very the people who stood up had a very specific tagline that They are future oriented. They're taking people somewhere. Were the winner of the elections. It's pretty simple to see that last election, right? Hillary Clinton and our guy Trump, and Hillary Clinton was, I don't know, let's work together or let's be together or something like that. But this guy's was make America great again, right? So same thing with the Bill Clinton and the other guy. Same thing. Whoever won, just look at their, everybody was taking them somewhere, right? So really important, right? So every one of us has got this big responsibility that we must take our clients somewhere. If you don't have a destination, or if you have so many destinations, then it's a confusion. You must be taken to one destination, right? So Gandhi's destination was freedom. That's it. Freedom. That's what we're looking for, right? Not under somebody, freedom, right? That's what we're looking for. What was Dr. Martin Luther King's? One thing, one destination, equal rights and opportunity for all colors and faith in this country, right? So that was just one thing. They all want one destination, right? So Rosa Parks, right? So all these people have any good examples to see that everybody taking you at one place, at one destination. So laws. This is a good one, right? This is a very good one. So everybody, every speech you listen to, you must be talking about, if they do not take action, what will they lose? If they don't take action, what will they lose, right? You need to tell them that, meaning that people will not move until they have or get to lose something, right? They won't move until they know that this thing will be taken away from them. That makes them move. So you must tell them that where or what loss will they have if they take any action. It's a big thing. People might not be inspired by the future, but people will be really inspired to take action if you're taking them or taking something away from them. If you take something away from them, they'll move or they'll do everything to make sure that you give things back to them, right? So very important, right? So very important. Look at the rights today, right? We live in the coronavirus world right now, right? So every one of us had the privilege to go out and do something about it until it's taken away. Until it's taken away, now people became, all these reptilian skills, all these reptilian minds just woke up trying to buy hundreds of toilet papers because that freedom is going to take away. Otherwise, you might die, right? So it's really important, right? So the last one is the path, right? So you must have a path. You must show them the steps. You must tell them the strategy to get to their destination. Because sometimes people tell them the problem, they tell them the enemy, they tell them the destination, they tell them what you got to lose, but you need to give them something what they used. You need to give them the vehicle. What vehicle they use. In our world, in my business, we have the vehicle called the fast growth system. That's my vehicle to help people from $1,000 a month to $20,000 or $15,000 a month start to get the clients, right? That's the vehicle we have. That's the vehicle path. What path you have for your clients. If they decide to take action, what path will you provide them? What is the steps? What are the steps? What is the strategy out there available for them to take action, right? So very important, right? So if you have, now let's have a very quick break and see if that landed, right? What did you learn? What did you learn? Did that actually make sense? Did you guys get the point, right? So number one point I want to really make is, if you want to create a business, you must have a presentation. You must have a presentation which moves people from A to B. If you don't have a presentation, you'll be speaking one-on-one, which is like working for somebody. It's like working as an employee, right? So you must have a presentation. The second path I really wanted you guys to make a point is that any movement was done in the past, doesn't matter who it is, was done by somebody doing a presentation. Any movement, anything happened, anything big happened, anything small happened, is done by people who could speak and could present, right? And those presentations have different levels, right? So very important. So I want to share something with you guys. This is the model, right? So this is the model. I want you guys to use it. Every presentation have models, and this is a model I want to give you guys to this, right? So if you are creating a presentation, if you have, it's pretty much based on this one rule, and this one rule applies to every presentation out there. It's talking to people about what it is today, what it is right now, and what it could be, right? So what it could be if you take action, what it could look like, right? So where you are, where you could be, where you are right now, where you could be if you take actions, right? So here, right? So really important to take the future-based. Everything has to be future-based, right? Remember what we talked about? American presidency example. All these speeches, all these American elections happen. Why? People, one, they talked about what it could be. Make America great again, right? So what it could be in the future. Very important. So if we have this, that's what happened to people. That's how the influences get created. So let me ask you this question. Let's see if you guys can get this little tiny point which I wanted to make here. Very tiny point, but see if you guys get the point. See, I could have just put a straight line from what is and what it could be. There's a straight line, right? But this line has got a little bit of bend in it. A little bit bend in it. Can somebody tell me what that bend represent? Just one word. What does that bend represent? Right? Instead of just giving a straight line, I just made a bend, and I wanted to prove a point here by just putting this bend so that you guys get the point. Right? What is that bend represent? If it's going like this, what does that mean? Why is that tiny bend there? Not just a straight line. It could have been a straight line. What it is, what it could be, right? It's a straight line. So why there is a bend? Why there is a bend? Let's see. Let's check in if you guys can. Are you still here? Why there is a bend? See if you guys get that. Let me know why there is a bend. If there is. Change, growth. Yeah, good, good. Anything else? So there is no right and wrong answer. I think I just put a bend there to prove one point, and this is what's going to happen. And I want to show you guys what happens, right? So when you give your point to somebody, what it is right now and what it could be, you're presenting to somebody in a room, right? And you're sitting down and presenting, and people are listening, right? You guys are listening to it right now. And when you're presenting very specifically to help people with something, you want to take them somewhere, and you say, hey, I want to help you with something. What's going to happen with people in their mind when they listen to you for the first time is a thing called resistance. You'll see that, you'll feel it, you'll have it, and when you present it to somebody, a lot of people are going to have this thing called resistance. You'll see that, right? That's a good point, right? Success isn't straight line. Change in direction, yes. Growth, change, yeah, they're all valid points. But the reason I wanted to put a bend in just because when you say somebody something, your audience will have this thing called resistance. Resistance to not listen, resistance not to agree with what you're saying, resistance to everything what you're saying. Right? And that's where the logic and that's where your skill set comes in. That how are you going to make sure that you use the same resistance to help them get to where they want to get to, right? What it could be, right? So that's where the next level is. But I just wanted to prove a point that you must make sure that there is going to be resistance to the message you're giving right now, right? So if there is a message, there is going to be resistance, right? Everybody out there, whether it's a 50 people, 5 people, 10 people listening, they're going to be resistant to what you're saying, right? So you must be prepared for that. And that's what I wanted to show you that. And you need to learn to fix that resistance. But that's for some other day. I'll talk about it some other topic. It's got a different facets, different steps to it, but there is going to be resistance, right? So if you haven't checked it out, this guy's method, it's called the Freytag's method. It's being used by a lot of people. Check it out. It's pretty much similar to, there's a lot of it's in the marketing world quite a lot. Any ad gets created today, pretty much use this same method, and any small movies happens, anything, and a movie world as well, pretty much same thing based on this, right? So every movie is based on this model, this pyramid, pretty much like this, right? So your presentation can be made on this, or can be done based on this as well. So it's a very cool way to present. If you haven't looked at it, take a screenshot and do a bit of more research. It's like very cool. You have call to action, something happened, and then you take massive action. Then the crisis happens, and then the climax comes. You have to go and fight with the bad guys, and then failing action happens. Then at the end, right? That's the end. So this is the way the most of the movies gets created as well, and very cool way of representing it in that format, which it's pretty famous, right? So check it out. It's very good. So let's talk about this. Next one is pretty important, and I want to share with you guys, see if I can actually get this working. Now I want to talk about the structure, right? So every one of you will have, when you want to create a presentation, you need to have one thing sorted, right? We call this a structure of every presentation, right? So you want to have a structure done. So you want to make sure that every presentation follow a certain structure, right? So let's have a look at this very quickly and see if this makes sense. And I want to show you guys this. So every presentation has to have a structure, right? Certain sort of structure in a way. So when in a presentation, we divide a presentation in 3 sections. When you're standing up and speaking, doesn't matter how long you speak for, whether you speak for 1 hour, whether you speak for 4 hours, or whether you speak for half a day or full day, right? So every presentation has to divide it into a certain structure. So here's what it looks like, right? So if I have to put a structure together. So the first one is you tell them. Second is you show them, and do. And let's have a look one by one. So the first one is tell. You tell them exactly what you need to tell them about something, right? You tell them exactly why they're here. Tell them the strategy. It's called the tell strategy, meaning that, for example, if you are coming into my webinar, if you're coming into my live presentation, any of the events, and the events talks about how to get clients, right, in next few days. So my job is in that to tell you the strategy, right? So tell strategy, right? Exactly how it is, right? How it is going to happen. So these are the steps. Like today, you guys walked into this room and on online session, and you want to learn how to present. I have to tell you exactly how to present, right? Tell you exactly what are the things you must do to present it. So this is what I'm doing, is telling you, right? Exactly tell you the strategy, step by step, how you should be telling. So you must have a tell strategy. The second step is you must have a show, right? So give them examples by showing them. So I gave you the examples, right? I gave you step by step how you should be, how people created it, how other people did it, how you can do it as well, right? So showing you with examples, clearly talking about how you can do it as well, right? So you first tell them, and then you show them, and then you do it with them, meaning that you show them, or tell them, yes, now you learned what you need to learn, you show them how the examples look like, how that gets applied, and then you ask them to do it, right? So meaning that what they need to do to make sure that they actually do the work as well. Because a lot of people just learn, and there's no action after that, then you must be doing. So when you doing a presentation design, it makes it really easy, right? So say, for example, if I have 1 hour webinar or 1 hour training, my tell part might only be 20 minutes or 25 minutes, right? So my tell part is very tiny. So I only need to prepare for the tell part, which is 20 minutes. Then I have to talk about show part, which is, showing you the examples, and talk about doing what they need to do after that, right? So what it does is it sort of divides your presentation in little chunks, so that you don't think it's a 1 hour, I have to speak for 1 hour, man. It's just going to go crazy. Then if you are in the room, it makes it easy, right? So you talk about, tell them you do it with them. Hope that makes sense, right? So this is the strategy is used by many people. It's pretty cool strategy. It works out really well, and we use it pretty much in every presentation. So it looks like this, right? So tell them exactly your tell strategy, right, and then show them with the examples, second one, and then you do the work with them, right? So here's something which happened when I was doing my first presentations. My few early presentations were pretty terrible presentations. They kind of failed. Like as I said earlier, when I stood up and spoke, and the only thing I was doing is making people bored. People listen to me and they just kind of go to sleep. They listen to me, they just go to sleep, right? So, and here's what I was doing. I was sitting there, and because I come from that technical background, my intention was, or you can call it analytical background or engineer background, because I studied, I'd gone through that whole thing. My intention was to help them, give them so much information, show them exactly how that look like, step by step. And by doing it, the only thing I was doing is just making people bored, because on the other side, the people who are listening to me didn't have those receptors to listen to me. They didn't understand it. They didn't actually able to convert it, right? So they just couldn't convert those, whatever I was saying, they couldn't convert that to understanding language which they could actually grasp. Or in simple terms, they just didn't have those receptors to receive my information. So make sure that you must know your audience and see when you're giving a presentation, a lot of people, if you are an engineer, technical, accountant, IT guy, coach, all that it sort of comes based on a skill set. And because we believe that, and that's belief is given to us, is that more we tell them about what we do, is they're going to give us the business. And that's not the way it happens, right? So make sure that you don't bore them with this analytical stuff way too much, right? And you don't want them to fall asleep in the room. So, and this is something which I learned from a friend of mine who is a musician, and I follow the same principle in this world as well. And so musician, he was pretty cool. He's a professional magician and does his shows in different cities. And one time, just having a chat with him, and he said to me, Jag, I asked him, I said, hey, you gotta, because you are a professional magician, you pretty much have a lot of tricks in your sleeve, right? So, because you do a lot of shows and you go around quite a lot and you present it pretty much every week, so you got to have a lot of things happening. And he goes, no, I've only got 8 or 9 tricks, which I do it every weekend or every week. And I goes, 8 or 9 tricks. How come, you are a professional? How come you have 8 or 9 tricks? You should have hundreds and hundreds. He said, the reason we have is, when people are amateurs, they only have some tricks, and the audience is the same all the time. Means that they're showing it to mom and dad all the time. Right? Mom and dad, friends, 4 or 5, 6 friends all the time. They just have this. And they cannot show them the same trick again and again because their audience is the same. From my side is, I show the same tricks, but audience is different, right? Every weekend I have a new audience, so I don't need to change my presentation, right? So I just change the audience, which is a very different perspective the way I saw it, right? When I was an external, I was thinking everybody has to change the presentation, everybody has to change the events, everybody has to change 3-day events, 2-day events. But no, that's not the case. I still know this. Tony Robbins, if you've been to any of these events, he's been running the same events from last 30, 40 years, right? UPW, if you walk in any time, and he tells this Ernie story, which is a pretty cool story. I won't tell the story. Very cool story. And when you listen to that story, you'll get into the story way too much, and you'll like, it just happened a couple of days ago. The way he tells the story, it just happened 2 days ago, but that happened 35 years ago, and he's been telling the same story 10 times a year in every freaking city. Right? I've been to those programs 4 or 5 times. That's why I know that every time. Then I had to actually ask somebody. It's the same story. And he goes, right, what do you expect? Right? So it's the same program. So That's what applies to you as well in your business. You don't need to change the presentation. Once that presentation starts to work, which starts to make money, the only thing you probably have to do a little tweaks, but the entire presentation, the structure and everything stays as is. The biggest thing is, the best thing you could ever do, spend time now creating that presentation. I cannot stress enough, if you have a bit of time today, you should be working on that presentation. Right, should be working on the presentation, and that presentation will, you can present it now one time and then start again and again and again. It takes a bit of time, but you must have that presentation, right? So if they like this is the big thing, right? If they like your presentation, this is the big thing. If they like your presentation, they like you, and if they believe in your presentation, they buy from you. And I want to leave you with this thing. One at the end is, most people, when they present, they stay in their like zone. And I was one of those people as well. Like, you remember the times at schools and unis when you were just a friend, and that's it. And people just said, hey, you are a very good friend, and there is no relationship happening, and you just stayed in a friend zone for way too long. And this is what happened at the end of the presentation as well. When you do a really cool presentation, when you do the work, when you present it like anything, and you feel that people need to come and buy from you, they're just going to come and really, you put your heart out there, you gave everything. And then they say, come and, hey, Jag, very good presentation. They shake your hand and then just leave the room. And then you ask this question, hey, what happened? I gave you everything I knew. Why don't you just buy my program? Why don't you just buy my course? Why don't you just buy my coaching? Why don't you just buy my software? Whatever you're selling. If you really liked it, why don't you just buy it? But this is what they say at the end. Hey, very cool presentation. I loved it. Thank you very much for changing my life. But no, thank you. And they stay in that friend zone. They never become a client. They never become a customer, right? And there is a reason for this, because they liked your presentation. They didn't believe in your presentation, right? So I want to leave you guys with this today. Everything you do today, when you started to write down the presentation, when you sit down to put your presentation together, when you sit down and think about putting these thoughts together that you want to do the work, number one thing to remember is your audience must believe in what you're saying. Not like it, believe it, right? Liking is very okay kind of thing. They'll stay in the friend zone. But you want them to believe in what you say, right? So very important, right? It's very important. So this day today, I really wanted you guys to capture this. Like, if you want to take your business to the next level, if you want to make more money, if you want to, have those dreams which you want to, achieve this year, quicker and faster, the quickest way to get to those dreams and goals is a high converting presentation. High converting presentation, right? So high converting presentation is the way to get to that place where you want to get to, right? So I'll leave you guys with it. Thank you for the time today, and hope you guys liked it. If you really liked something, really let me know, please. What are your top 3 takeaways from today's presentation? What did you learn? What you liked? All that sort of stuff, right? Love to know. And tomorrow is a very important day as well, where we're going to talk about leads and all these clients conversions, right? Lead clients conversions, all that sort of stuff, right? Which is pretty cool. So looking forward to tomorrow, but leave your comments below and let me know, what do you think about today? What did you learn? What are the 3 top takeaways for you? All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys. Speak to you guys. If you have any questions, by the way, leave it below. I'd love to answer them as well. All right, thank you. See you guys tomorrow.